Okay, so we're jumping right into it. So to start, you are going to use your 5.5mm hook or a 5.75, whatever you have. And then you're going to start out with your magic ring. And then in that magic ring, you are going to insert 12 half double crochets. So you're going to start with your chain up 1. And then in that ring, you're going to do 12 half double crochets. And the yarn that I'm using for this project is an ombre yarn, so I do apologize that it is starting out black. I know sometimes black yarn is really hard to see, but I promise you the colors are going to change. It just started out black. Once you have all 12 half double crochets, you're going to go ahead and pull your string tight to close the ring. And then once you have your ring closed shut, you're going to insert your hook into that first chain 1 with a slip stitch to close the round. So insert your hook right here. I know it's really hard to see, but it's that first chain 1. So this is what your work should look like at the end of round 1. You have 12 half double crochets into your magic ring. Now for round 2, you're always going to start with a chain up of 1 before you start working your half double crochets. And for this round, it is an increase round, so we're going to insert 2 half double crochets in each stitch. So remember, for round 1, we started with 12 half double crochets. So at the end of round 2, you should end with 24 half double crochets. And it's okay to count as you go to make sure you're having the right amount of stitches. Okay, so you have completed round 2, and at the end of round 2, remember what I said, you should end with 24 half double crochet stitches all the way around. So for round 3, you're just going to start with your chain up of 1, and the pattern for this round is inserting 1 half double crochet in each stitch. So there are no increases, you're just going to insert 1 half double crochet all the way around. As you complete your round 3, you're going to go ahead and slip stitch into the top of that chain 1 from the beginning of the round. And as you can see, we are moving out of the black. Our yarn is starting to change to now blue. So for round 4, it's going to be the exact same thing that you did in round 3. You are going to start with your chain up of 1, and then you're going to insert 1 half double crochet all the way around in each stitch. Now, for this part, this is the base of your sock. So depending on your shoe size will determine how many rows you're going to do, because you're just going to repeat putting 1 half double crochet in each stitch. So I am a size 8. So for this, I'm going to repeat round 3 until I have a total of 14 rounds. Follow this size chart for the amount of rows you need to do. So I have completed my 14 rounds, so in total I have 16 rounds if we're counting from that first round, the beginning of the sock up until now. So depending on your size, you could have had more rows or less rows. At this point in the project, I would suggest trying on the socks just to see how it fits. And if you need to add more rows, go ahead and do so, because I do know everybody's tension is a little bit different. So you may not need to follow the size chart exactly. So just go ahead and try it on and just see where you're at. So to start working on the heel part of your sock, you're going to chain up 1. And then in the next 16 stitches, you're going to insert 1 half double crochet. And also, depending on your shoe size will determine how many rows you need to do for your heel. So I'll insert the size chart on the screen as well. So for this, I am doing a total of 6 rows, and that will be for a size anywhere from a size 5 to a size 8. And as you go up in size, you will go up in rows. So if you go up 1 size, you will go up 1 row. Once you reach the end of your 16 stitches, you're going to chain 1, and then you're going to turn your work. So once you turn your work, you're going to work back down the row, inserting 1 half double crochet in each stitch. So in that first stitch right here, you are going to go ahead and insert your first half double crochet. And you're just going to repeat that, inserting 1 half double crochet back and forth until you have the amount of rows that you need to do for your size. So remember, at the end of the round, you're always going to chain 1 and then turn your work. So just keep repeating that until you have the amount of rows that you need. Okay, so now that you have your total amount of rows that you need to do for your heel, it's time to just close it. So once you have your amount of rows, you're going to turn your work to face you, and then you're going to fold it like this. So when you fold it, we're going to slip stitch down the row, and you want the seam to be inside, so that's why you have to fold it backwards. Always make sure you're folding it backwards and it looks like this. So once you have your two sides lined up, you're going to go ahead and enter your hook and just slip stitch up and down the row, remembering to go into both sides because you want them to be connected. So I'm just going to insert my hook here and then just slip stitch down the row. I'm going to go all the way down. Okay, and then once you reach the end of the row, you're going to turn your work and then just go back down so you can start working again on the next round. So for this part, I know it's kind of hard to see where to put your hook, or because it's slip stitch, it is a little tight. It doesn't really matter where you insert your hook as long as you make it back down the row. So I'm just inserting my hook in like the front of the stitches, and it's okay if we're not going through both sides because they're already connected. So just keep going down the row, and then once you reach the end, you are going to turn the work inside out, and this is what it should look like. So the seam is very smooth, the seam is inside, you don't really see that. So this is how your sock should look once you've connected. Now, for the ankle part, bear with me on this part, y'all. It is really easy, but I know it can be a little confusing. So for this part, you are going to insert 27 half double crochets around. Now, there is no right or wrong way to do this part. You just need to make sure at the end of this round, you have 27 stitches, not 26, not 24, not 28, but 27 half double crochets. It doesn't matter where you put it. Just make sure that you fit in 27 stitches all the way around. So I don't want to say that in the first stitch you'll have one half double crochet and then in the next one you'll have two half double crochets. It doesn't really matter, and it's not anything particular. You just need to make sure you have those stitches all the way around. So I'm just very sporadic with it, just placing it anywhere, wherever I see fit, and just making sure I end with 27 stitches. So go ahead and do that. Once I reach the end of the round, I am going to slip stitch into the top of that chain one from the beginning just to close the round. So here I have my 27 stitches all the way around. Like I said, there's no right or wrong way to do it. Just make sure you have those stitches because that stitch count is very important. So for round 2 of your ankle, after you have your 27 stitches, you're going to start with your chain up of 1, and then in each stitch around, you're just going to insert 1 half double crochet. Super easy, no increases or anything like that. Just insert 1 single crochet, I'm sorry, not single crochet, 1 half double crochet in each stitch all the way around. And I know it may seem like I'm flying through this tutorial right now, but I really just don't want to make this video super long. The project is really easy if you follow along, and you'll be fine. So this is what your sock should look like with the sock part done, the heel part is done, and the ankle part is done. Now, say you were somebody that didn't want to make any thigh-high or knee-high socks and you just wanted a regular pair of crochet like slipper socks, you would be done. You would just stop right here and you would put your socks on, and then that would be it. But for the sake of this tutorial, we are doing our thigh length socks, so I'm going to continue on showing you what to do next. So to start working on the leg portion of your sock, you are going to start with a chain up of 3. So you're going to chain up 3, 1, 2, 3. And then for this, you are going to skip the first 2 stitches, and in that third stitch, you're going to insert 2 treble crochets. So in that third stitch, you're going to yarn over twice, insert your hook, pull up a loop, you're going to yarn over and pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2 again. And then in that same stitch, you're going to insert another treble crochet. So you're going to yarn over twice again and go back into that same half double crochet stitch with your treble. And that is the pattern for this round. So you're going to skip the next 2 stitches, and then in that third stitch, you're going to insert 2 treble crochets like we just did. So there isn't going to be any like chain ones in betweens or anything like that. You're just going to go right into that third stitch with your 2 treble crochets, creating that V stitch. So just repeat that all the way around, and remembering at the end, if you have your 27 stitches, like I mentioned before, you should end with 9 cluster treble crochet stitches. So you should end with 9. You shouldn't have 8, you shouldn't have 7, you shouldn't have 10, you should end with 9 if you did your count right and you have 27 stitches. So just repeat that all the way around until you have 9. So at the end, let's go ahead and count and make sure that we have our 9 cluster stitches here. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Okay, so we have our 9 clusters of 2 treble crochets. So at the end of that, you're going to insert your hook into the space between the chain 3 and then our first V stitch. You're going to insert your hook there just to slip stitch to close the round. So to continue on, you're always going to start with a chain up of 3, and then in that V stitch where we inserted our 2 treble crochets, that's where you're going to work out of. So you're going to insert your hook into the middle of that V stitch with 2 more treble crochets. So that's the pattern for this round, and so on and so forth until you reach your desired length for your sock. You're just going to go ahead and insert 2 treble crochets into each V stitch. Now, if you're somebody like me who's really small and my leg is really little and it doesn't really change much in size when it comes to my thighs, you're just going to go ahead and insert your 2 treble crochets into each V stitch all the way up. But if you are somebody who thighs are a little bit bigger, you will do an increase, and I'll show you how to do that. So if you are going to increase, you would start increasing once you've done, you do no increase all the way up until you reach that point of your leg where it starts to get a little bit bigger. That's where you would insert your first increase. So for a size small, you would insert maybe just 1 row of increase, and for a medium 2 rows, a large 3 rows, and for an extra large 4 rows. So to begin on an increase round, you're going to start with your chain up of 3 like you normally would, and then in that first space you would insert 2 treble crochet stitches, and then you would go into your V stitch and insert 2 treble crochet stitches. So you would repeat that all the way around, inserting 2 treble crochet stitches in the space and also in the V stitch as well, and that's how you would do an increase for this, and you would do that all the way around. But because I'm making this pair for myself and I don't need any increases, I'm going to take it out, and then like I said, you're just going to go ahead and insert your 2 treble crochets into the V stitch only, not in the space. You would only go in the space if you are doing an increase. So I'm just going to continue this all the way around until I reach my desired height. And for me, I am 5'4", so I'm not on the taller side. So I'm going to continue this until I reach row 20, and that is a good length for me. So as you go, it's okay to try on your sock just to see how many rows you want to do. You can do 20, you can do 22, you can do 24, depending on how high you want your socks to go. So once I've completed my 20 rows, this is what my sock looks like from the beginning up until this point now. Like I said, I didn't do any increases. I just kept going with the same pattern all the way up. So now it's time to work on the border. For the border, it's really simple. So in this first space right here, you're going to insert 2 half double crochets. You got 1 and 2. And then in the V-stitch, you're only going to insert 1 half double crochet. And that's the pattern for the border. So in the space, you're going to do 2 half double crochets. And then in the V-stitch, you're going to insert 1 half double crochet. So 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. Once you reach the end of that round, you're going to start with a chain up of 1. And then in each stitch around, you're just going to insert 1 half double crochet all the way around. Really simple, no increases or anything like that. So just insert 1 half double crochet in each stitch, and you're going to continue this for a total of 3 rounds. Now you don't really have to do 3 rounds if you don't want to. If you only wanted to do 1 round, that's fine. It's just depending on how thick you want your border to be. At the end of your desired rounds of your border, you're just going to cut and fasten off, and then just go ahead and weave in that short tail that you have, if I can get my hook through. But I'm just going to insert my hook into some stitches and then pull my yarn through. And then I'll probably do that for about 2 stitches, and then I'll just cut off the rest. Now, if you have like a darning needle, this will make it so much easier, but I just don't have one at the moment, so this is the way that I do it. So once you've completed your border, it's time to go ahead and work on your drawstring, which is the last part of your sock. So you want your drawstring to be big enough to go around the size of your leg and to have a little bit extra so that you can tie. So I'm going to go ahead and make a chain of 140 for my size. Now it could be more for you or less for you. So once you have your chains for your drawstring, you're going to go ahead and weave it through. So I like to weave it through the second row of my border. Now, if you didn't do 3 rows, that's fine. You can just weave it through whatever row you feel looks best. But I always would just suggest leaving 1 row above where you're putting your drawstring. So I'm just going to weave it through. I like to go over and under 2 stitches at a time. Now you can do 1 stitch at a time. You can do 3 stitches at a time, whatever you prefer. This is just the way that I always like to weave in my drawstrings for any of my projects. So once you have it weaved through, you can tie it if you want, just to make it look cute. Put it in a bow. At the ends, you can add some tassels. You can get really creative with this, with your socks. You can add some tassels, some pom-poms, some peppermints I've seen. You can make this, Christmas theme. You can do so much with your socks. This is a perfect Christmas gift for somebody. I know these have been going around everywhere, and people are just loving these thigh-high socks. So hopefully this tutorial was really easy for you to follow. Please let me know if you have any questions in the comments section down below, and I will see you guys in my next video. Thank you guys so much for watching.